And it kind of goes back to what Rimsey said. We are hopelessly ill-equipped to deal with emotional conflict. And that starts from a very young age. That's why they avoid us. Who wants to come face to face with their inadequacies? Many times in relationships, not many times, relationships are the only context where you will come face to face with your emotional inadequacies.
Yep.
We're not talking about the battleground or even the football field. Because if you're inadequate on the football field, you can learn to get better. Right? You can learn to get better, and a man can say something to you, and you probably fight or you argue back or whatever, but that doesn't require any kind of serious introspection. But when your wife, your woman, somebody you would say, you can't do this well, or you need to do this, or you not do this well enough, brother, that will scare you.
Trigger.
Especially if it's something that you've thought about, but you've never expressed it, and women have a knack for hitting a nail on the head with that. True or false, right? So the best thing to do is avoid it, which isn't peace. Which isn't peace, right? But it's the language we use when it says, listen, we need help. It's a cry for help. When a man saying want peace, really, it means I don't have the tools to solve this thing right now. This, maybe not all the time, because we've spoken about the woman, we're just negative all the time. But the other side is, if it's something that really needs to be addressed, and the woman points this out in a relational context, and you don't know how to fix it, the easiest thing to do is say, yo, this woman nag me, I really want peace, when really and truly it means that we really don't have the tools to fix this thing, and it's very uncomfortable.
So do we
Very,
really
and that's
want
something.
peace, or do we want to avoid the discomfort that comes with actually creating the
I think ultimately we want peace, but avoidance is easier.
Yeah,
Ultimately we want peace, but avoidance is easier.
Yeah, that buys us the knockoff version of peace, and
Yeah.
this
Peace light.
is where we have to be like completely honest.
piece of chicken?
And have had years because of
Yeah.
because of how we are socialized. Women have had years to. That's why you find that typically women typically shoulder the emotional burden of a relationship, because men, as you said, Steph, we typically avoid those things. But I feel like,
I'm gonna play the devil.
that is something that is often, the whole unseen labor thing that they speak about, which is very true. That's something that's a burden a lot of them carry. And so, as men, in understanding that it's a cry for help, it's also a call to action for us as well, because it means that we have to start having these kind of conversations. These and it's not just about having a conversation, but it's about being unusually invested in proper communication. I feel like if you are able to label these things correctly, to know your feelings, identify them, and say, oh, yo, this is the issue. This is how it's affecting me, in a way that shows that you are like, reflecting, you're taking accountability for what you are feeling, you're taking accountability for actions, both intended and unintended, and then saying like, all right, how can we address this in a way that is both meaningful to throw it?
Rimsey, I know that look.
No, I feel like I'm gonna be the devil, because alright, I can see many things from different angles, and I can just imagine having this conversation to the old me or to other young men right now. And the question that they may ask me is, why is that wrong though? Why is that wrong? Why, if we have yin and yang, if we have night and day, if we have positive and negative, why do I need to encompass all of that? Why can't I just be this way and function this way, because this is how I think or how I feel best when I operate out there when I need to be disruptive? Why, when I have you in my life, because remember, when we say we want peace, most of the time a man will sometimes we'll say, I want you to be my peace. He wants that woman to be his peace. So alright, I want to be disruptive out there, you just be my damn peace. Just don't make no noise at me ears, just make me look at me and know that I am flawed, and just emotionally love me, No said nobody try get me for be deep and soft and for come out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like why do I need to get into that space? Who says it is good? And again, I'm just being the devil because I have experienced both sides. I have experienced a side where I've been closed off. I don't want to talk. I don't want to express nothing. And I've experienced a side where I've 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 opened up and I've become more expressive, more in tuned with how I feel about certain things. And I'm still trying to balance the scales as do I need to be this way? Because again, I tend to think I look at things a little deeper. Where I look at society now and I look at all these soft men out there, and I'm like, these soft men have been told that in this last couple of years, men should be vulnerable. Men should have these type of conversations. Men should all of this and all of that and all of that. And you're not weak. You're strong when you do these things. But physically, when I go out there, what I see is soft men that the women that ask for these things nowadays they don't want anymore. So again, maybe I'm going off on a tangent, but why is it wrong? Why do I need to? Why do I need to be both? Why can't I just be this person? Why can't I just be dark and you be my light?
Okay. Not to your answer. May have an answer to it, but
No, and it's a genuine question because it's
man,
something that
so fear.
I battle with daily.
It's fair. It's a fair question, I'll say. And just to really clarify, I don't think we've held the position, or at least as far as I know, that it's necessarily wrong. I just feel like it's a very inefficient way to navigate a relationship, especially with one in the environment that we live in now. I feel like one of the biggest pitfalls, or one of the biggest mental pitfalls that we make now is being ignorant of the impact of things like capitalism, or just the global external forces, how they impact our relationship and the relationship dynamic. If we had lived in a time, for example, for when the extended family, was as popular as it was, there was a lot of different people to carry the load of certain relationships. So, for example, my uncle, let's say he would work, his wife worked, and she would be taking care of the kids. We have grandma, we have other uncles around, we have other aunts around who help carry that load. But when you think about, like, in a more contemporary setting where nuclear families are much more popular, much more prevalent, the reason why, to Rimsey's question, the reason why it's now more important for us to sort of diversify the things that we are good at, and the reason why it's important for us to become more emotionally in tune, is because our support systems are gone, essentially. So we are in a position where we cannot expect that our partners will just be okay with, all right, I will just bear the emotional burden for the relationship, even though there is nobody else to help me carry it. And so you are the only other person they can look to. They can't go to their kids. You have to turn to your partner and say, yo, this is burdensome for me, and yeah, I understand, so you're out there and you conquer the world and everything. It's an unfair ask. Let's be clear about that. It's an unfair ask to say, "Oh, I need you to be more emotionally, attuned to what I need." Even though you're out there, the producer and provide, it's unfair, but it's necessary, because the burdens that we each have to carry now, I feel like it's a lot more stressful than what it might have been then. This now say you're fear, but I feel like there are certain things that we have to do that we can just admit. The issue, I feel like men don't have a problem doing these things, but it becomes an issue when we say, yo, you kind of ask me for too much. Like, you can't say that. But that's often the case, because it's not like men don't have the ability to be emotional, or they have emotional conversations. But we can't say, cool, while I'm able to do this for you, I need you to understand how much pressure this puts on me. You're supposed to just bear pressure and don't say nothing. As a man, that's typically the expectation. But if you are able to say, cool, I can do this for you, but me need you to know, say, it's bearing on me too, then I feel like that changes it a bit. So yeah, it's unfair, but it's perhaps more necessary now than it might have been 20, 30 years ago. That's my perspective at least.
I agree with the yin and yang. I'm talking like societally now. Typically, women are socialized to express emotions better, right? They are equipped a lot earlier. As a matter of fact, they say females, part of the brain that is responsible for language and expression develops faster than males. That's a biological fact, which means that males get to that point of expressing a lot later, and it is made worse if the system doesn't support or encourage that, right? I don't think I will ever be able to express myself in the way that my wife expresses herself, right? However, I want help to unpack some things that I am not typically able to unpack, right? I don't believe that that means that I shouldn't try any at all. And going back to Rimsey's point of why we can't just be dark and just allow the woman to be the light. Because I am not dark. I am not negative. I am not wrong. And sometimes I feel like as men, societally, we are told that the woman is the better half and we should just accept and embrace that we will never be good enough. We will never be good. We are always the negative in society, the world, the relationship. And I disagree with that. They think dark doesn't have to be bad either, right? But the
that aspect of life that I need to maneuver that requires that side of me.
Right, but in the context of not expressing at all, right? That is problematic, and let me tell you why. The leading cause of death globally is heart disease, right? So when I say express or express yourself to your spouse, or when I express myself or unpack something, it's not because me just want chat. It's because it's the healthier thing to do, literally.
Yeah.
Right? And interestingly enough, we have no problem being challenged or doing the hard things when it comes to working out or excelling in life and all of those things. But one of the hardest things to do is for us to express ourselves. And in my mind, as a man...
To who? Pause and ask you a question to who. Is it easier for you? I'm going to flip it quickly. Is it easier for you to express yourself to your fellow brethren, like a circle of me and you, than it is to express yourself to your spouse? Which one is easier?
Now it's not. Now it's no different. A few years ago it would have been, right? And let me tell you why. And it's a good question. And it's because, again, typically we are told that, all right, you're bridging them. That's the only space that's safe to talk about certain things. In the way you talk about it, true or false? Like the way you talk and you reason and you talk about certain things, it's easier to talk to your bridging them about certain things because there is less fear of perceived or real of someone saying you can't say that, or how you have to say that, or how you have to think that, or how you have to believe that, right? Where I am at in my relationship, there is not that space. Anything when me can say to my brethren them, me can say to my woman. And she might say jokingly, you're not supposed to say that, or that's politically incorrect. And I'll be like, oops, well, it out now, so make we talk about it, right? So I don't have that barrier. I understand, however, that is more the exception than the rule.
And the rule, right?
And ultimately, I want men to get to a point where they can do that with anybody. Yeah. Not because, so the relationship, hopefully, I hope will benefit if it's a healthy relationship. But ultimately is because I want men to be healthy all the way around, right? Not because you just want to chat or you just feel like expressing. Because at some point, and this is going back to your point, Rimsey, some point, talking doesn't solve everything. Talking cannot and will not ever solve everything. Just like fight and war will not always solve everything. Just talking and saying, me feel down, me feel bad, me feel stressed out. That is the starting point. And for any man who feel like him can just talk and express himself through life, you will fail. Because at some point you need to say, okay, now that I've discussed all of these things, what's the plan? What's the, like, how do I move forward from that? And that's why I feel like it is important for people to talk about, and when I say people, I mean men and women, right? There are times when I don't want to talk about anything. And that is important. But within the context of a relationship, it's also important to say, I don't feel like talking right now. Or I want to say something, but I really don't have the language to say it right now. When it becomes an issue is if you say that to somebody who you're supposed to feel comfortable with, and their response is, how you feel say that? What you mean enough? That's when it becomes problematic in the relational sense. Because someone that you're with, hopefully for a long time, should be able to say, okay, I understand that whenever you're ready, I am here. Or if you need any help, I am here. Again, I know that's more the exception than the rule.
Yeah.
But my mind or my thinking will always be on what's the healthiest way to do this thing, and not the contemporary way, because the contemporary way isn't always the healthy way. But that's a good point to raise, Ramsey. Enough man, it's easier for enough man to talk with them, and that is important, brethren. That is important. So it's not like you need for.
Yeah, it's not one like, or the other.
It's not one or the other. And when I going back to the peace conversation, for me it's about centering yourself. It's not about changing yourself based on the space you're in. Who are you? Center yourself. That's when I say stillness. That's what I mean. Like, I am at the center of all of these spaces, and how can I be authentic in all of these spaces instead of having to shift and move and adjust? I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
But some man just dark. And it's okay if you're honest about it. That's, for me, that's what I think. When I say dark, I mean, if it is that you don't have the tools to talk about certain things, that's where you are. That's where you start, right? And by the way, dark don't, and being an introvert don't mean you're dark. Because like Rimsey, I'm an introvert. It might sound strange.
Same.
Because of my profession. If you ask anybody, once I am done teaching for the day, a long drive, not saying a word, not hearing my voice, that gives me peace.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? That gives me peace. Not having to hear the sound of my own voice for at least a couple hours is the greatest gift that somebody could. No, it's the greatest. No. But and I do feel like there needs to be the space to say those things, and it's not an indictment, right? It shouldn't be an indictment. It shouldn't be a problem if it is that you're in a relationship and you tell the person, I just need a couple hours just for not say anything at all. I don't see that as a problem at all.
Yeah, and I feel like the cousin of this conversation is how do you communicate difficult things in a way that creates a safe space to address them, rather than a space that becomes inflamed as a result of the difficult things you need to communicate. So I feel like just how we go about doing those things is the next step from identifying that there are these issues that we need to address. Then how, because some man will say, I communicate like, I tell her, I say, allow me alone, I'm there with my bridging them. That are my time for link up with my G them or something, but she'll call me, she not stop calling me and something.
So that's this need a part two, because not the way you said it, I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
If it is that it's been expressed, if it is that a man say, all right, may I go to my virgin them and this is my time and my thing.
Yeah.
That's I don't see that as a problem. If it is that I've said it and we call it, if that is my boundary, and you cross that boundary, it shouldn't be an indictment upon me if I tell you step back over that line. Is that an indictment? I don't see, because let's be real, as men we have very few boundaries. The moment you enter a relationship and you have a family, your boundaries, if you use the cricket analogies, right, it now past the stumps, because everybody has something that they require of you. So if you say, all right, Friday night may I go to my brethren them, and this is a time that me want spend just with my brethren them, and that becomes an offense, then there's a more serious conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
Because is it that me as a human being should not have any time for myself doing the things that I want to do? And if that's a problem, again, that's deeper than we think.
Yeah.
That's deeper than we think. So yeah, I know this peace thing. You'd think that this peace thing would be straightforward.
Yeah, we can talk that one day in our next episode for you.
The next episode we're talking about that, because I know that is a very toxic conversation, and it shouldn't be. A man saying, I just want this time for myself, or I want this time to go chill out with my brethren. Not. Could you think of an existence where you're not fixing or helping somebody else? I don't know about you, but does that exist for you in your life? Like a time where, how much time a day do you have where that is not related to anybody else?
Not much.
I think in maybe before that was typically the experience, but I've found that the things I do in my recharge time, coincidentally my wife enjoys doing those things as well. So
It's not a sexual conversation.
This I got X-rated in that too. This sound like it I got X-rated in that.
no man, no, it's not.
Your sex life, bro.
No,
Pause.
it's not. It's not. It's, for example, like something as simple as like I might want to watch a video or just get deep into researching something. She has her version of that where when we engage in that activity and the times typically sort of are in sync, I don't feel like I'm leaving. And even with not feeling that way, I still feel like I can be fully invested in what I'm doing without necessarily having to worry about, all right, this little side project or passion of mine is just taking away so much time. I know my partner is feeling alone or left out. Granted, sometimes I might be in it a lot longer than she like, but wait, no, man, you see,
On that note,
I'm not talking about it.
On that note, all right, make we pick it up the next time, man. When you
Yeah, we can touch
yeah,
on that.
We start about Baby Island.
yeah, kind of so yeah. All right, make we leave it there now. Yeah, in it for a little bit too long. Yeah.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Right, all right, bro. Yeah.
What you know, man? Yo, we need